Am I the asshole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? For my friend's 3-day wedding, I had to buy 3 different dresses, including alterations and specific shoes, which totaled over $700. She also wanted specific hairstyles for each day. Unfortunately, starting in March, my hair started to deteriorate. Due to health reasons, my hair was falling out in chunks, and in May, I made the difficult decision to cut my hair. I told the bride about my decision 2 weeks before the wedding, and she didn't say anything bad. The following week, she came over to my house, and when she was about to leave, she brought up that she was concerned about my haircut. I told her it would look good even though I wouldn't be uniform with the other bridesmaids. The following day, I received this message. Part 2. Am I the asshole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? The message went, after our recent conversations, I'd like to remind you of my boundaries. I've been very accommodating and graceful, but I cannot allow you to disrespect me. As you know, my wedding has been something I've dreamt of for many years. Husband and I have invested a lot of money into the videos and photos of this day, and as we reflect on the day in the future, we want to see our vision reflected in the memories. Since I asked each of you to be bridesmaids in 2019, I've been very clear in my request. The timing of your decision to cut your hair and not income in advance is very upsetting to me. I would have felt respected if you communicated with me more than a week prior to the wedding. Am I the asshole for taking my friend to court after she kicked me out of the bridal party for cutting my hair? She said that while she sympathizes with my health concerns, she's not willing to compromise her vision. Then she asked me to please step down from participating in her wedding. This was 3 days before her wedding, and I immediately sent her and her husband an invoice asking them to reimburse for the shoes and dresses. Keep in mind that one of the dresses is still in her possession even though I paid for it. Neither of them replied, so I decided to take it to court. I was told I was inconsistent and selfish after I spent the past 2 weeks helping her plan the wedding shower. I spent hours helping her out with the wedding details, and when she asked me to help her tone up before the wedding, I sent her a personalized workout program and even went with her to the gym. Am I the asshole for making my stepson choose between therapy or living with his dad after what he's done? My stepson Aaron, 17, has always been a jokester. First, his jokes were funny, but then he started using other identities to start drama in family and friends. For example, he once texted his cousin's phone with a flirty text, and his cousin's girlfriend saw it and it got messy. He also texted his uncle pretending to be his son's friend and lied about his son being in an accident. It was awful. I tried doing something about it, but everyone would say he's adapting, it's normal teenage behavior, and that he'll grow out of it. Even blamed his dad, saying that he is a jokester himself, so it's a trait in his DNA. I tried to get an explanation out of him, and he'd say stuff like, dude, like, it's kind of fun. Am I the asshole for making my stepson choose between therapy or living with his dad after what he's done? My final straw was days ago when I was at work and received a text via my pregnant wife's phone, telling me her water broke and told me to meet her at the hospital. I drove for 1.5 hours and called my family and we went there. We were shocked to know my wife never came to the hospital. When I got home, I found out my wife was actually napping like she usually does, and Aaron came downstairs laughing at my face and in my in-laws' faces. I yelled at him when he said he got me fooled by taking my wife's phone and texting me about her going into labor. He said, OMFG, did you literally drive to the freaking hospital? Am I the asshole for making my stepson choose between therapy or living with his dad after what he's done? My wife said nothing and I decided I had it. I said I was sick of his games and he has 2 options, therapy to fix his issues or no longer living in my house. He complained about it being his dad's idea, but it was obvious blame shifting. He started calling me names. My wife tried to calm me down, but my blood pressure was up and I was shaking. I have chronic disease. My in-laws said I was too harsh and went too far with my ultimatum. I declined to back down because I think I won't be able to take it anymore. I apparently made them more upset than what Aaron did and said I have to forgive him and drop it, but I couldn't. Aaron is 100% against therapy and has a bad idea of it. Am I the asshole for confiscating my daughter's glasses as a punishment? A few weeks ago, my daughter Maddie, 15, and her friends stole a girl's asthma inhaler and destroyed it. The girl ended up becoming ill, but fortunately the school had a spare one. Because the incident was so serious and also because Maddie and her friends had been tormenting the girl for a while, it resulted in Maddie being expelled from school. The other girl's parents almost involved the police but thankfully decided against it. When I got Maddie home from school after what happened, I gave her a long lecture and she didn't regret what happened at all and thought it was just messing around. She thought it was stupid that she got expelled. When she came down for breakfast the next day, I decided on a punishment. I took her glasses off her face and went into her room and confiscated her spare pairs. Am I the asshole for confiscating my daughter's glasses as a punishment? Maddie isn't blind without her glasses, but it's quite inconvenient for her. If she wants to look at her phone, for example, she'd need to have it very close to her face. Maddie was very frustrated that day, and I thought she'd learn how the other girl felt when her inhaler was gone. I gave the glasses back at the end of the day and everything seemed okay. A few weeks later, Maddie went to spend a weekend with her father, my ex. He called me raging at what I did to my daughter. He said he wants Maddie to come and live with him. The punishment was nothing compared to what Maddie did. Am I the asshole for not paying to eat out when my girlfriend initially offered to celebrate my promotion? I, 27 male, have been with my girlfriend, 24 female, for around 4 months. I earn considerably more than her, and she has previously been open in saying her wages do not cover her bills or monthly outings. I've preferred to keep my finances private to this point. I've recently got a promotion and she wanted to celebrate and take me out for a meal. On the day, however, she said she could not afford this, so I suggested I would get takeout and come to her place instead. She immediately said she was upset as I earn over double what she does and felt I should be more forthcoming and want to pay at this stage in the relationship. I highlighted that I had more outgoings than usual this month. Am I the asshole for not paying to eat out when my girlfriend initially offered to celebrate my promotion? I let her know that I couldn't afford it this month either. Her perspective is that I know her wages aren't sufficient to pay her bills, yet I still allow her to pay for things. We've been equal in the relationship so far, paying for activities and meals out. She felt I should be paying for it because my base wage is significantly higher. She kept saying she didn't expect me to pay for everything, yet she was coming across this way and said it was the gentleman thing to do. My perspective is that I don't have much disposable income either, but would have paid for more if I could. I felt upset that she found out my income. I feel that she came across as entitled. Ultimately, it's my money and I decide how I spend it. I bit my tongue but have worries for the future. Am I the asshole for telling a woman at the gym that she isn't attractive? I've recently started going back to the gym because I'm trying to lose the weight that I gained during quarantine. My partner never stopped working out. She adjusted and made time at home. I can't do that. Home is for all the stuff I love to do. I work out to stay healthy, but if I'm honest, I don't really like doing it. I generally do cardio for the first 40 minutes and I'm there cycling. I put my headphones in and zone out and I don't really look at anything. Apparently this morning, a woman thought I was staring at her. I'm gonna be honest and say that I'm not even sure if I was looking at her. I'm pedaling away on an alpine pass in my mind and jamming out to some 90s alternative. The first time I noticed her was when she pushed my shoulder to get my attention. I then pulled my earpiece out. Am I the asshole for telling a woman at the gym that she isn't attractive? I asked if she needed something. She proceeded to loudly shame me for staring at her while she was working out. I explained that I was zoned out and not really looking at anything. I was 26 minutes in at this point and sweating from my ride. I tried to defuse it. I tried to explain that I really wasn't looking at her and she wasn't having any of it and kept getting louder. So I finally just said, "Get over yourself. Why the F would I be staring at you when that's my wife over there on the elliptical?" She looked wounded and I felt bad for it, but she would not stop or leave me alone. She walked away and I thought that was the end of it. As we were leaving, one of the trainers stopped us and said that what I said wasn't necessary and that they would talk to the manager about revoking my membership. Am I the asshole for kicking my sister out for how she reacted to my pregnancy announcement? Mom passed away 4 years ago and my sister and I received inheritance. All Mom owned was split between us equally except for her house. In her will, she wrote that the house goes to whoever has kids in the future to help the grandchildren. Then mentioned that if me and my sister have kids, we'll split house value in half. It was obvious my sister and her previously child-free husband wanted to keep the house so bad because within weeks of the funeral, she announced she was pregnant but couldn't keep it since she announced miscarriage days later. She didn't stop till she had a son a year later. She kept getting involved in my marriage, advising me to reconsider because of my husband's condition that had us suffer from infertility. He was also in remission for a mental condition. Am I the asshole for kicking my sister out after how she reacted to my pregnancy announcement? My sister kept referring to my mom's house as officially her son's since she has a kid and I don't/won't. Till my husband and I found out we were expecting recently. He invited family over to make the announcement and when she heard, she was shocked. She asked if I was serious, then called me unbelievable to go as far as to lie just so I get to share her kid's house. She said even if I was pregnant, we shouldn't be parents and brought up my husband's BPD. She ignored the fact that he was recovered and brought up his disability. My husband heard but just kept smiling. I said it was none of her business and my husband said that she just didn't want to share the house. It escalated and I told her and her husband to leave. My family wants me to apologize.
Hi, my name is Ava, also known as the Vampire Girl. And it's all because I had the meanest parents. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. I was born in a small town in Romania, and growing up, I realized that my parents were weirdos. For starters, they were always talking in whispers to each other, which was so annoying. And they never left the house. They wouldn't go out for work or even groceries. A box of supplies just mysteriously arrived every week. Every day, Dad would spend hours reading the newspaper and circling stuff on it with a red marker. Once when I was 4, I kept asking him to pour me cereal, but he kept ignoring me. So I leapt onto the table and put my foot in his bowl, spilling it all over his newspaper. And Dad went bonkers. Oh my God, do you realize what you've done? You're such a nuisance. Here, take the whole box. Just leave me alone, you idiot. Gosh, I wished I could just leave them forever. They didn't even love me. We never had any visitors, but when I was 5, Grandma came to see us once, and she brought me an adorable cat. I was so happy. But of course, my parents were not. A pet? We already have Ava. It's hard enough to take care of her. No, just take it back, please. No freaking way! I ran up to my room with the cat and slammed the door shut. But when I woke up in the morning, it wasn't anywhere in my room. I looked all over the house. Nothing. I just knew my parents had gotten rid of it. I screamed and cried, but they said they didn't know anything. Liars. Before they could stop me, I just ran out the front door. I was never going back. It was a really sunny day, and as I kept running, my skin suddenly started turning really red and itchy. I looked up at the scorching sun, and my whole body began to burn. Ah! I let out one huge scream and fainted. When I woke up, I was in my bed. Mom told me the doctor had been to see me, and he'd said I was perfectly fine. No, that's not true. I'm not fine. The doctor's dumb. The sun almost killed me. My parents said I was crazy, but I knew they were evil, and I wasn't gonna let them hurt me. So after that, I refused to let a single ray of sunlight touch my body, not even indoors. I covered myself from tip to toe, socks, trek pants, hoodie, and a face mask. Only my eyes were visible. My parents almost fainted when they first saw me roaming around the house like a little ninja. The only time I removed my costume was when the sun was gone. I'd never go out during the day. I even insisted on being homeschooled. But by the time I was 13, my parents refused to homeschool me anymore. There's nothing wrong with you. Just go to school. It's been years since you last walked under the sun. It's because I'm allergic to the sun. You just want me to die? If you keep behaving this way, I swear I'll send you to your aunt's place in Norway. There's only sunlight there for 6 months. Gosh, they were unbelievable, and they thought I didn't know about their plan. Fine, but don't think I won't wear this costume to school. I will, and when people say you're weirdos for dressing me up like this, just know that you asked for it. I joined school in the 8th grade, and the minute I entered the classroom, everybody started laughing and whispering things like weirdo and freak. I ignored all of them and sat down quietly on the first empty seat. During lunch break, I stayed back in the classroom while everybody left, except for this one girl, Jessie. Ava, right? I'm just curious. Why are you dressed like a garbage bag? I'm allergic to the sun. It burns my skin. She started laughing and just left. Soon enough, I discovered she was the meanest girl around, and she'd pick on me every chance she got. Once she put a fart bag on my seat just as I was sitting down, and the farting sound had everyone howling with laughter. Another day, I solved a math problem on the board, and as I was returning to my seat, I slipped on some water and fell on the floor. That's where your place is anyway, weirdo. I ignored Jessie's stupid pranks, but one day, she went too far. I was standing under some shade and enjoying a baseball match when suddenly, Jessie came out of nowhere and dragged me into the sun. She started to pull my hoodie off, and I bit her hand really hard and ran away as she screamed. You crazy freak! Are you a vampire? And that's how I got my name, Vampire Girl. I could hear people calling me a monster, but I didn't care. At least the bullies were a little scared of me now. A few days later, the teacher introduced a new kid, Nick, to our class. His clothes were old and ragged, and I could see Jessie and her minions already laughing at him. They'd found their new target. I joined him in the cafeteria at lunch that day, and we started talking. I found out that he was the new janitor's son. He was really sweet and never even said I was crazy when I told him about my condition. I was so happy to have made a friend. But one day, as I was walking down the hallway, I found Jessie and her friend surrounding Nick. She spilled juice on the floor and said, Oops, you can clean this up, Nick. I mean, you'll grow up to be a janitor like your dad, right? Come on, just sit down and wipe it with your butt. Hey, jerk, have you forgotten the last time I bit you? Stay away from Nick, or this time I'll do some serious damage. Jessie rolled her eyes at me, but when I leapt forward, she actually screamed and went running. Nick thanked me, and I always made sure to stick close to him after that. But then one day, Nick and I had just entered the classroom after recess when Jessie started screaming like crazy. OMG! My brand new iPhone! It's gone! Someone stole it! And then she pounced at Nick and grabbed him by his shirt. You must have done it, you beggar, you thief. Where is it? Hey, knock it off, you witch. You have no proof. Oh, I'll get the proof, girl. She snatched his bag and started throwing out all his things. I grabbed her hair and she turned around and attacked me. We got into a huge fight, and just then, the principal walked in. Jessie kept screaming that Nick had stolen her phone and it must be in his locker. Of course, the principal found nothing there, but Nick was left humiliated in front of everyone. He was silent the whole day, and I caught up with him after school. Hey, Nick, are you okay? Jessie is just terrible. I hate rich people. They always look down at us as if we aren't human. She called me a thief just because I'm poor. God, I just hate everyone. And he just walked away. He didn't come to school the next day, and his dad was nowhere to be seen either. A week passed, and there was still no sign of them. I felt worried, but I didn't know where he lived. But then I remembered Nick talking about how his dad also worked at a restaurant in the evening. So I decided to go talk to him. As I was walking down the street one night without my mask or hoodie, I saw a masked guy running towards me, and suddenly he started snatching my bag. As I tried to get away, I lunged at his face and pulled his mask off, and I nearly fell back in shock. It was Nick! But before I could say anything, he ran away. I just stood there in disbelief. Jessie was right all this time? He was a thief? I felt betrayed. Nick showed up at school 2 days later, but I just ignored him. But when he kept following me and asking me what was wrong, I suddenly lost it. You want to know what's wrong? I'll tell you. The girl you robbed the other night on the street? That was me. He looked horrified.
You? That was you? I didn't know. I've never seen your face.
What does it matter who it was? What matters is that you're a liar and thief, and to think that I fought for you. Suddenly, he started weeping like a baby.
I didn't want to steal, Ava, but I just had no choice. My dad's in the hospital. We needed the money. I'm so sorry. I swear, I didn't steal Jessie's phone. I've never stolen anything until that night.
He kept crying, and my heart went out to him. I'm sorry about your dad, but stealing isn't the answer, Nick. You should have told me. I could have helped. Let me help you now, but promise me you'll never steal anything ever again. He promised, and I went to talk to the school principal. Together, we planned a fundraiser for Nick's dad, and within a day, we were able to raise all the money Nick needed for his dad's treatments and more. And the biggest donors were Jessie's parents. They kept praising me at the fundraiser for arranging the event, and this made Jessie even angrier. Don't let it get to your head, Ava. You're still a freak, and you could never be me. As if I want to be. What's so special about you anyway? Other than being super dumb. Excuse you? I've been prom queen for the last 2 years. You could never. Oh, is that so? We'll see this year. Seriously? It's the prom, not some freak show. You'll never win against me, loser. Nick whispered into my ear.
Says the girl who's never seen your face.
I bought a beautiful red dress for prom. Since it was at night, it was the first time anyone in school would be seeing me without my mask and hoodie. As soon as I entered the hall, I saw people turning around and asking each other who I was. Just then, Nick came to me and took my arm.
Ava, you look beautiful.
That's Ava? The vampire girl? I can't believe it was that face behind that mask all this time.
She's gorgeous.
Jessie looked furious when she saw everyone's attention was on me. And to my shock, I was actually voted as that year's prom queen. As I was being crowned, suddenly Jessie came charging at me on the stage, trying to rip the crown off my head. But then something strange happened. The bullies who used to pick on me saved me. They all stopped Jessie and took her away.
Don't lay a finger on our prom queen.
That was amazing. Things at school started getting better. Everyone was super nice to me now. Nick was tutoring kids after school, and his dad came back to work soon. Nobody paid any attention to Jessie and her gang anymore, and all they could do was give me death glares. But one day after gym class, I was quickly changing in the dark locker room when suddenly Jessie and her minions barged in. One of them quickly grabbed my hoodie, while the others grabbed me by my hands and legs and started carrying me outside. Oh my God, no! They dragged me out into the sun and pinned me to the ground. This is for stealing my limelight, you witch. Now, let's see what happens to you in the sun. I hope you melt and disappear. Suddenly, someone pushed the girls away. It was a teacher, and Nick. While the teacher dragged the bullies off to the principal, Nick quickly took me inside as I cried like crazy. Hey, you're okay now. And your skin? It looks totally fine. It's not even red, Ava. Does it hurt or burn? I looked all over my arms and realized he was right. There were no rashes, and it didn't itch or burn at all. Was my condition gone for good? Or had it just been all in my head? When I went back home that day, my parents were shocked to see me.
Ava, where's your hoodie and your mask?
Mom, Dad, I was out in the sun, and nothing happened to me. Was I just crazy all this time? They hugged me tight and actually started to cry. Sweetheart, we tried to tell you it wasn't real. You just got a bad sunburn as a kid, and you let that fear get so big in your head. I just never believed you guys because, well, I always thought you hated me, and you wanted to be rid of me. You got rid of my cat.
No, we didn't, honey. It just ran away. And we never hated you. When you were growing up, your mother and I were working as undercover government agents. It was a really stressful time for us, and I'm sorry we made you feel ignored.
What? My parents were secret agents? That was the last thing I'd ever expected. But suddenly, their weird behavior made sense. I wish you'd told me sooner. All this time, I've been believing things that just weren't true. We're sorry, Ava. We should have been better parents to you. We love you so much. I love you too, guys.
I, female 31, am a reader. Used to read a lot in my teenage years as an escape method from many of my problems, and recently got back to reading. I read classic books since this category is my favourite. In addition, I spend time and effort visiting libraries and online shops to collect books. The thing is, my husband, 33, hates it when I read. We just returned from our honeymoon 2 months ago, and he's been complaining about books taking our special time away, specifically at night. But I like to think that I'm balancing with my reading time. He started calling me grandma or saying I remind him of an old lady to get me to quit reading, but it didn't budge me. A week ago, I found out that he's given my book collection away, and I was devastated after he defended himself, saying he did this for my own good and the sake of our marriage since I seem to forget my priorities. So I flipped out, yelled at him that those books were hard to get, and demanded he pay me and replace them right then, but he said that I really should invest my time in an outdoor hobby we could both do, but I was having none of it and demanded he replaces the books. I gave him a list of every name of every book, and when he saw it, he laughed and asked if I was really still thinking about those books and suggested I move on. But I yelled at him, telling him he had a week to replace them, and that was it. He's trying to get me to let it go and had others say it was childish of me to start a fight over some books while the library is open, but they got no comment from me. Am I the idiot for expecting him to replace the books? Not the idiot. This was a power move, trying to assert control and completely jumping over boundaries. It's worrying that he did this just 2 or 3 months after he got married. Even if this was the only red flag, and outside of this he's a wonderful human being, it's not tolerable and he shouldn't be allowed to think that it's no big deal. Do not back down, and he needs to understand why what he did is unacceptable. He's the one who started a fight over books and also the one who escalated it. You standing up for yourself isn't starting a fight. For real, maybe he'd get more into reading if it was divorce papers. 2 months in and he's jealous of books, of OP's own happy memories, and still sees nothing wrong with it. I know we're not getting the full picture of this guy, but this is a major red flag. I'd lock away anything else he's commented on. OP, throw the husband away and replace him with more books. Your marriage is doomed. This is a much bigger issue than books. Get out now while you still have some self-esteem and confidence left that he hasn't sucked out of you yet. There are plenty of men who aren't threatened by a woman who reads or pursues hobbies outside of him. Not the idiot, but I wonder how you married this person who doesn't let you have your hobbies. This isn't going to be popular, but everyone's the idiot here. Husband is definitely an idiot for doing that. I want to get that right out of the way first and foremost. In no way am I agreeing with what he did. However, OP, you admit that you use reading as an escape, and instead of taking the not-so-subtle hints that your husband would like some more of your attention, you chose to continue to indulge in your escapism. If this were alcohol, not a single soul would question a husband who destroyed his wife's wine collection. I also wonder how open and honest communication and expectations are or were before your marriage. Was your husband aware that you intended to escape into books regularly, and how often and how long are you doing this for? Many things are going on here, and it's only barely about the property. I, 26 female, have been with my boyfriend, 27, for 2 years. We recently found out that we're expecting a baby, and we're both excited about it. He has a best friend, 27 male, that got engaged to his girlfriend, now fiancée Layla, 24, over the summer, and they plan on getting married. So he asked my boyfriend to be the best man. They've known each other since childhood. Here's the conflict. Layla and I had a falling out last year. We used to be close, but she pulled a complete 180 on me and went behind my back. People came to me and said she talked behind my back about something very personal to me at a bonfire last year. When I confronted her about it back then, she looked baffled and asked what she did and how she could fix it. I wanted to believe her, but I felt she should have known already why I was mad at her. My boyfriend is still close to both his best friend and the fiancée to this day since he's known them before dating me. He mentioned that he could bring me to the wedding if something happens with my pregnancy. I told him that I wouldn't sit and watch someone who betrayed me celebrate love. My boyfriend understood that, but he told me that being the best man was very important. Finally, I lost it and told him that if I'm not going to the wedding, he shouldn't be his best man and prioritize the baby and me. He dropped the conversation after that. I told some of my friends this, and they said though the pregnancy is important for him to be attentive to, I should move on from the drama and let him be there for his best friend's big day. But I still stand firm because it would be awkward with his fiancée if I went, and his best friend can find someone else to be his best man. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Wait a second. You claim the two of you had a falling out and said she has no idea why you're even angry at her, and you refused to tell her what she did. So you can sit at home pregnant and cranky, but you have no right to tell your boyfriend he can't be the best man in his best friend's wedding. This is a huge red flag. For him, not you. This is incredibly controlling on your part. If you don't want to go to the wedding, fine, but stop being a micromanager of his friendships. This behavior will push him away and turn him and many other people against you in the long run. Controlling isn't cute, and it's long-term poison for a relationship. Book yourself a spa day on the day off and enjoy yourself, but don't do this. If you love this man, love him enough to let him be friends with his friend. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a co-parenting relationship with an ex. You are the idiot. You do not own your boyfriend. Letting him go? Seriously? Would you respect someone controlling like that? You're taking other people's word on what was said. She may not have said it, but if she did, you're giving her what she wants. You upset and carrying on and avoiding her. Both of you could go and you could show up as if you're the more mature and polite lady. This could be a turning point where you could shine. But maybe you're uncomfortable about her getting married and having the wedding, and you're still not married and having a baby. My girlfriend and I have been together.
The most beautiful time. The most beautiful time. The most beautiful diamond. Give me something to hold on to. Give me something to hold on to. Give me something to hold on to. Give me something to hold on to.
for 4 years and moved in together just under a year ago. I make more money than she does, so I pay 60% of our rent and utilities, but we split things like food, internet, and most dates 50-50. However, she got laid off from her job a few months ago, so she's trying to budget more. She's looking for a job in her desired field, but is struggling to find something close to us. I've encouraged her to get a job because plenty of places near us are hiring, but she doesn't want to work retail or fast food, which I can understand, but at the same time, you can't complain about not having money when places are hiring less than a mile from our house. I'm a gamer, and like many others, I've been looking for a new Xbox for months. Last weekend, I finally lucked out and found one, so I snatched it up right away. I was at home setting it up when my girlfriend got home from running some errands, and she asked what I was doing. I told her I finally found a new Xbox, and instead of being happy, she flipped out on me. She told me it was irresponsible of me to spend that much money when we have to tighten our budget, and asked what things we would have to go without for the next few months because of how much I spent. I told her that we don't have to tighten our budget at all, just her. I told her I was doing fine for money, and that she was wrong to force her money issues on me. She yelled at me that we were supposed to be a team and help each other when they were down. I told her I agreed, but that doesn't mean I have to give up things that I enjoy just because she doesn't want to work at Target or Burger King. Then I asked her how much she spent on essential oils since she lost her job. That didn't help, and she started saying how that's different since those serve a purpose beyond wasting time. When she didn't give me a straight answer, I just said, "So, more than I spent on the Xbox." She yelled at me that I was an idiot, and she couldn't believe I'd do something so selfish when we could lose our apartment, which we won't. Even if she can't make a rent payment, I could afford to cover us for at least 6 months if needed, and if it goes to that point, I'd pretty much have to force her to work since I'm not looking to support her if she's able to work but is refusing to. She's barely talking to me the last few days, and any time I try to get some gaming in, she makes a huge point about avoiding me or stomping around. I don't feel like I did anything wrong, and she's just lashing out at me because she's feeling down about herself. Not the idiot, she's not pulling a weight, and she's refusing to take any job that she deems to be beneath her. She's just taking her frustrations out on you because you have money to spend on something you've been wanting and she doesn't, and she's stressed about it. Does she qualify for any unemployment benefits? Doesn't she realize that she can take a temporary job until something in her preferred field comes along? Not the idiot. Essential oils are so expensive, and the idea that they serve any meaningful purpose other than smelling nice is absolute garbage. Yes, they do smell lovely and can be very relaxing if you're stressed out. There's absolutely zero objective scientific evidence that they do anything else other than potentially poison animals and cause respiratory problems in small children, though. None. She can spend her money on what she wants, but the argument that essential oils have a use is ridiculous and unjustifiable. OP, keep that Xbox, ditch the girl. If you're picturing a future in which you might have kids with this woman, you might want to find out now if she'd take a sick child to the doctor, or would she rely on her useful essential oils? Would she get those kids meds or use essential oils? I realize I'm referring to a very stereotypical essential oils person. Still, you might save yourself some time, money, and long-term heartache if you think very seriously about whether your ideals and long-term goals are truly compatible. So, my younger brother Matt never had the best relationship with me or my younger sister growing up. This is because of my parents and their mistreatment of my sister and me, and their use of him as an excuse for it. I'm 9 years older than Matt, and my sister is 8 years older. Matt has a form of high-functioning autism. We've known this since he was about 2 years old. Ever since my parents found this out, they've used him as an excuse to avoid any responsibilities and gain as much sympathy and handouts as possible, claiming that caring for Matt was a massive job that took their attention 24/7. A big aspect of this was that they neglected my sister and me at every available opportunity. They never once attended anything for my sister or me. They refused to be there in any aspect, emotionally or physically, for either of us. The truth about it, though, was that Matt required nowhere near the amount of attention they claimed. Once he entered elementary school, he had no behavior issues and was very self-sufficient. Yet my parents would use him as an excuse for everything. They even once refused to pick my sister up when she was abandoned by friends almost 20 miles away, claiming Matt needed them here when he was fast asleep. We also both went through massive depressive bouts and were told by our parents that they didn't have time for our problems because of Matt. Finally, towards the end of my time living with my parents, my extended family slowly cut my parents out once they learned the extent of their lies regarding Matt. Suffice to say, this destroyed our relationship with Matt. For a long time, my sister and I despised him. Even today, our sister outright refuses to talk to him or our parents, only communicating with me. I'm in low contact with the parents, but I realized long ago that Matt was blameless in this situation, and taking out my anger towards my parents on him was wrong. So, around the time he entered college, I reached out and started a relationship with him. Out of nowhere, though, Matt asked me recently why my sister and I were so cold to him growing up. My sister nor I ever told him the truth, and seeing as he's an adult now, I decided he deserved the answer. So I told him that our parents are narcissists and exploited his autism as an excuse to neglect my sister and me. I told him about how they left my sister 20 miles from home at night with no way home and used him as an excuse. He became very livid and confronted our parents about this. My parents have lost their minds now. They're accusing me of trying to ruin their relationship with Matt and claiming that I'm nothing more than an entitled brat. Sister as well has begun blowing me up, claiming that I need to stop opening old wounds and drop contact altogether or stop involving her in this. Not the idiot. I have no sympathy for your parents. Continue to cut them off. If you told him your feelings just to cause a rift, then you would be an idiot. But I think it was probably beneficial to Matt. He probably spent a lot of time wondering what he did wrong, or what was wrong with him that his siblings hated him. Knowing that it wasn't about him or something he'd done will probably go a long way about making him feel happier and more confident in general. I agree. Maybe he wasn't mistreated to the same extent as his siblings, but his parents used him as a pawn, lied to him, degraded him, and ruined his relationship with his siblings. He's a victim too, and deserved to know the truth. You don't owe it to your parents to keep whom they hurt and how a secret. Not the idiot, OP, but your sister is right that it's long been time to go full no contact. Good on Matt for standing up for you two. Not sure why your sister isn't interpreting it that way, except this is still incredibly painful for her, and because of that, please engage with her. Get her to open up to you. You all should seek some counselling individually and together. Maybe all three of you can go one day when she's worked through it and is more comfortable. I'm 23 female and my boyfriend Eric is 24. Yesterday I was preparing to go clubbing with Eric. It's been ages since we've gone out and I was super excited to go dancing with him. I spent a long time getting ready. I wore my favourite night out dress, heels and earrings. I also did my makeup nicely. 45 minutes before he was supposed to pick me up, Eric texted me saying he didn't feel like going out. I got worried and asked if he was ill or had a headache, but he just said he wanted to relax and play some mobile games. I was really disappointed and asked why he didn't tell me earlier, before I started getting ready. He said he didn't want to upset me, but honestly I'm even more upset now. I was about to change out of my dress when I suddenly decided to go to the club. I obviously didn't want to go clubbing alone, so I called a few of my female friends to see if anyone was up for it. My friend Alicia agreed and she said she'd be ready in an hour, so we went and had a really good time at the club. When I returned home, I saw a few messages from Eric asking what I was doing. I told Eric that I went clubbing with Alicia a few hours ago. I didn't tell Eric before I went because he gets super angry and stopped me. Something similar happened before. He totally flipped out and said I was being unfair to go without him. He said that I should have told him before I went. I told him that if I told him, he'd force me not to go, and he said, "That's not at all true." Later, Eric made a tweet saying, "My girlfriend ditched me for her friend. #LifeSucks," which was really embarrassing and childish in my opinion. Many of Eric's friends messaged me trying to know what happened. When I told them, they called me a huge idiot. I'm kind of rethinking what I did, and I'm starting to think I might be an idiot here. But at the same time, I don't exactly regret going to the club with Alicia. We had so much fun, and I got a ton of compliments on my makeup and outfit. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot at all. You made plans with him, he decided to bail last minute, and you went out because you were all dressed up. Nothing wrong with that. He sounds like a major idiot, and I'd maybe think twice about the relationship, especially when you say that he'll have stopped you from going. No one should be stopping you from going out. He should have followed through on his plans to go out with you. Not the idiot. Do you live with this man? Is he your husband? If not, he has absolutely no say in what you do in your free time. How can he say you ditched him when he was the one who cancelled plans? You're too young to be sitting in the house just because the boyfriend didn't feel like going out. You have a right to enjoy yourself. Good for you for not moping around at home and deciding to spend time out. If he's like this, it might be time to figure out if he is really what you want in a partner, because a partner who genuinely treats you this way is not good.